So AJ Friend, the little 5-year-old that was murdered by his parents, blunt force to the head. What point does that serve? I'm saying coming from a mother and father. Like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things, combine them, make them into one. 5-year-old Andrew Friend. How you say his last name? F-R-U, or not F-R-U, F-R-E-U-N-D. Friend is how you pronounce that. Andrew Friend died 3 days before he was reported missing. All over the news. Oftentimes when children come up missing, there's a likelihood that their parents had something to do with that. Not in all cases, but a large percentage. So also too, Andrew, when he was first born, the blood testing and all that, there was opiates, yes, opiates were found in his system when he was first born. So that's to say that could more than likely end up a negative or a positive as an end result. You see where the situation ended up. So when Andrew, his parents, Joanne Cunningham, age 36, and Andrew Friend, Sir, age 60, they have been charged with murder, and they should have. No hard feelings with that, but to take the young boy's life is to say you should have given him off to someone that could more than likely take care of him. Anyways, with that, so the parents forced the child to stay in a cold shower for long periods of time and beat him, which resulted in his death. They made him stay in the shower for long periods of times and then beat him. That cold temperatures on the body as well as beatings. Coroner David Devane released the cause of AJ's death was multiple blunt force trauma injuries to the head. I stated that in the opening. AJ's parents received a bond set at $5 million. And they're charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery, and failure to report a missing child and his death. They too face additional 3 counts of aggravated battery in relation to a March 5th report of abuse of AJ. That's to say you didn't really want him. Should have gave him to somebody. There's all type of people out here that want and need children. People that can't birth kids, right? Father of Andrew faces a additional charge of concealment of homicidal death. Authorities have expressed it was Andrew's father who buried his son. He buried his son's body wrapped in plastic in a shallow grave. That's not to say that's what drug use does. That's not judging. I have many ways I pinpoint in relation. Anything can go bad, right or wrong, or sour. It's how young children die. Right? So, this whole placing your son, burying the whole missing, people need to research more in relation to what I said, in relation to what I said about missing children. When I said oftentimes the parents had something to do with it. Very, very true. Statistically. Very, very true. Missing child, wrapping your child in plastic in a shallow grave and all the rest, and then just acting like you don't know. That's the thing that got me. Because as soon as the story, yes, popped up on the news, I'm saying, I was thinking to myself, well, yeah, a lot of people were thinking, well, more likely his mother had something to do with it. I was thinking more likely they both had something to do with it. That's the very first thing that came to my mind. It could, senses and intuition with that. The couple's house was in foreclosure. Andrew Sir appeared for a hearing for the couple. Not for the couple. He in fact appeared because the house was in foreclosure, right? The couple owed $98,000. Well, almost $10,000. 98,980, right? That's close to 10,000. Well enough. On the home as of July 2018. This whole situation with this was not fit from the beginning for a child to be raised or be a part of. I'm going to go into further the details if you already haven't seen for yourself in relation to the home, so stand by for that. The hearings came a day after body of young AJ was found in a rural area near Woodstock. The hearing in relation to the home, in relation to the foreclosure of the home, right? The parents, how everything came to be, the parents were confronted with cell phone and forensic evidence, which led to them both providing information to police and FBI. All this revealed the truth of what in fact happened to the young child. AJ's mother, this is what strikes me as odd. After all this, his mother is 7 months pregnant. What is going to happen with the baby once it's born? So you kill. Let me figure this out. Because more than likely, the whole time, even before pregnancy, she was beating on the child, right? The common sense and logic, that's a fool stance. I'm sorry. It just is. It just is. Logically, I'm saying, why would you beat on a child, right? As in abuse and neglect and not paying bills and all this other stuff and home foreclosures and all the rest and leaving the child. There was an incident where the child was left alone. Other kids in relation to, and then you go when you get pregnant again. There's lots of people that do that sort of thing. Lacking logic, right? So once again, 7 months pregnant is the mother. She stated she will receive maternal care while in jail. That child needs to be handed off to somebody else. So Cunningham being pregnant again, it is said Illinois' Department of Family Services will make a determination of what will be the outcome for the newborn baby. Illinois' Department of Family Services said that in relation to them saying what is going to be the outcome for this new baby, and yet those are the very same people that didn't play their right fit part in preventing the young child's death that died. That's to say, they might in fact need to not be in the intervention with that. Some other agency. They helped in that, and the young boy, because see, look, to come into a home, that's in fact too how the young child died. Illinois, when it comes to family services and all the rest, came into the home as 2 caseworkers that are no longer allowed to work on cases because of the incident with this young child. And yet this pregnant mother, more than likely this newborn baby, child and family, Illinois, with that services is going to make the decision about this unborn baby. They were unfit to begin with. The whole picture, the whole situation. The mother and the agency. What are they going to do? Not the parents. The services agency. What are they going to do with the newborn baby because they didn't make the right decision to begin with? Police didn't play their part fairly because it said that there was 60 pages. 60 pages, a report, record, and all the rest on the young boy. That's the first thing that stood out to me. I'm like thinking, it takes 60 pages so for somebody to get involved in relation to the house being nasty, filthy, dirty, and forms of neglect being there, as in it being shown. Anytime a house has dog feces and the children is running around, stepping around, and the dog poop is in their room, that's a form of neglect, as in clean it up. The house was filthy and trashed, and that was all on file record and all the rest. 60 pages long, as to say something. Stuff like that make me mad. Look at the young boy's face. That all could have been prevented. Preventable situation, and yet it wasn't. Who, as police, who doesn't know, even when it comes to children family services owners, all the rest agencies, who doesn't know that when you walk into a house, four walls of a house, and it's full of filth and trash and dog poop and all the rest, who doesn't know? Even there's an internal sensing, I said that already, intuition that something could be wrong with this house. The caseworker had to have felt that, as well as the police officer. 60 pages. 60 pages. Anyways, so details into the family's home. I want to share that if you haven't already seen and heard. I asked that already, the 60 pages. So the legal system, yes, is messed up when it comes to that, as well as these agencies. I'm wondering if these police officers or these agencies, but still more so the agencies when it comes to children's services, are they getting tired of their jobs or what? Because it's quite odd that these same type of, that more than likely is likely the situation or something, right? It's like a child agency walks between the four walls of a home. They see if it's clean. They see if the parents are fit or unfit and all the rest. And then they leave the home, and sometime later, or weeks later, a day later, 2 days later, the child is dead. As in, what are they not seeing? That I don't understand that. I don't get that. Does that make sense to you, dear viewer? Because I'm sure with enough news stories and all the rest that has came about and been at play, with situations like this, the likelihood of death is to say, well, the agency. What's the point of being there to begin with? Because I thought the agency is to look out for the well-being of the child. And yet if it's not so, it's to say, well, maybe a lot of these agencies might in fact need to be shut down and replaced with something else. So I mentioned that the two caseworkers were removed from, they were in fact two caseworkers that were removed from casework, and they should, because of the mishap between the handling of his case. The details of the home, within the home, the oldest child witnessed drug use by the parents. That's one detail. Drug use by the oldest child, witnessing it. Another account, there stood drug use and abuse within the home, such as pill popping. Various drugs that went on within this house, right? Okay, so the oldest child went weeks at time without clean clothes. Let me continue further with the details within the home. Dirty clothes would be strewn everywhere for days on end. Dirty dishes stayed piled up in the kitchen. The stench of feces could be smelled coming from the boy's bedroom. It was dog poop. I mentioned that. The house didn't have any hot water or any water service. And beginning of the winter season, there was no heat. That right there is just one of many neglect issues. All this is in fact neglect. If you don't know what neglect is, search what even that is, and take time to research. So the grandmother, she stated her grandson did not receive regular meals. He was only given food 4 out of 7 days a week. Oftentimes, children's bellies can't handle that. They start to get sick. You and I can go on a fasting feast. That's a new word, or phrase. You and I, dear viewer, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think and feel about all this mess, right? Young children can't go 4 out of 7 days. Do you ever remember being young, or were you fully fed as a young child? I was like completely overweight. Never once have I been malnourished unless it was by choice in my early 20s or something like that because I wanted to lose weight. But not feeding a child, even one day is a little bit too long. 3 or 4 hours is a little bit too long. It just is. I'm saying there's a timing between not needing meals and all the rest, but that's too much. So the child was sent to school with no food and no money to buy lunch. And not only that, at times he only ate marshmallows and water. More details into the child's within the house. The child's, this overall situation, right? The child was left overnight all alone, throwing up, vomiting, left alone and vomiting, with a bodily temperature of 102 degrees along with diarrhea, as the parents went out with a friend of Cunningham's while this young child was throwing up and had a body temperature of 102. That's like flu. Could have been worse, pneumonia, right? This mother and this father went out with the mother's friend and had a good old time. During the school year of 2011 through 2012, the child missed a month of school. A whole month. That children, family services, and all the rest is questionable with that. The agency. The school as well is questionable. During the school year, let me repeat that. During the school year of 2011 through 2012, the child missed a month of school and missed 10 days of school in the year of 2012 to 2013. I guess we can stand in silence. Stand in silence over the whole matter. I'm saying because that I don't even know what to say or what even to think with everything. How a situation just be worse, set on top of worse, set on top of bad with that. It's sickness is what it is. So the child, this is more detailed. The child would stand and watch the couple physically fight and pulling out knives on one another. The father was witnessed pushing the mother down the stairs. This young boy saw all that before he died. That's the worst. Stuff like this bring tears to my eyes, which is why when it comes to missing children cases and later is discovered who killed who, right? And the reason for, because it makes you feel sick inside. There is an inner turmoil I can't even explain because it just don't make sense. You don't feed the child. You don't have the child clean. You don't allow the child to go to school for a month. Then the child missed more days, but more than anything, the child is left there to witness. At times left alone, and not only that, left to witness parents fighting and pulling out knives and guns and all the rest on each other, right? And then that's when you know the child dies. All that scene, all that before death. Didn't they say usually it's good to, before you die, people should be at peace before they die and not have to die traumatically? This is one of those situations where peace was in fact not there, not ever. 5 years old. To be that age, to be born out the womb, knowing that you had drugs in your system, is to say, well, more than likely his system had his internal organs on. We don't know fully what all wasn't regulated, right? In the young boy's system, right? Could grow. He could have grown up with emotional issues or whatever, because even drugs can mess up a child's system, right? Sometimes it don't come out till 30 years old or so, right? To not know even when he was little if he had issues of feeling sick or whatever, and then not being cared for when he was much more younger, 1-2 years old, right? And then just to die like that's the worst way. I'm repeating that for the third or fourth time so you guys can hear what I'm saying. A repetition, right? That's the worst way. Because see, it's older people that die over at cancer centers, and they don't die in a traumatic manner as this young boy has died. I'm saying there's pain and pain medication that they receive and all the rest, but this is the worst of the worst. It makes you get livid inside, is what I'm trying to say. So once again, he would stand and watch them fight, pull out knives, and then he once again watched his father push his mother down the stairs. The father too would walk through the house with a gun while dressed in military apparel. And in seeing such, of course, a child is going to be fearful. Hell, who wouldn't be, right? He was fearful of his father, but more than anything, more fearful towards his mother. That mother, yeah, because see, when everybody was like, well, more than likely the mother, because in the very beginning, when a boy came up missing before he was pronounced dead, the mother she wouldn't really interact, help along with police as in to say, well, this could have happened. That you won't cooperate as a young child's mother. That's telling in itself, as in it did. That's why everybody felt that she did it. From the very beginning, the mother wouldn't cooperate with police, with law enforcement. Anytime that's sketchy, right? That's to say that mother, outside of the drugs and all the rest, for that little boy to fear the mother more so than the father, is to say, well, what all else took place in that house between that mother and the son? More so than the father, right? So the father will use threats on the child about a safe room. There was a safe room in the house. He would tell the young child, that's another worst thing. The child shouldn't have been born from the beginning. That's not to slight anybody. That's not to make anybody mad, dear viewer, right? That's not to make any of y'all watching this mad, but I just have to be specific about that, because the father was even threatening the young boy about the safe room. Stay in the safe room or else you're gonna die. I'm gonna kill you if you leave out the safe room. Threats of death, but the young boy threatened to death as well. That's a form of bullying. Look at his face. That is bad in itself. Who in their right mind would want to hurt a young innocent face like that? Wickedness and evilness is specifically real. You're gonna put a child in a safe room and tell him he can't leave or else he's going to die? Really? So the couple had a pending divorce case, which is odd and it's strange. Because to say two's company is to say they act just alike. Why not stay together, right? What will be the point? I allow you, viewer, to answer me back on that. What specifically will be the point in them wanting to divorce? Seeming they took the time to kill the child together, and possibly could have thought about it even well before and just waited to do it right. I just don't like none of it. I don't like any of it. Because to be victimized in the worst way, brutally like that's a shallow mindset. It completely heartless and shallow. I'm just saying, stuff like that. I'm trying to understand who in a right, outside of the divorce case, who in a right mind stand in front of a lovable child every day, every single day, and look him in his eyes, right? And treat him like a dog. Why, instead of having kids like that, why not just get dogs? Matter of fact, don't even get dogs, because that's even turmoil, as in it would lead to that for the dog, for the animal. But I just don't understand. I just don't. You look at a cute child, very innocent in the face, and yet you treat them in the worst way. And then if the child is crying, some of these young children have the most sweetest and innocent, cute face that if they stand in front of you and cry, it breaks your heart because they so cute and adorable. Little Andrew seemed like that type. And yet to take advantage of that by abusing him is to say parents is the worst of the worst. They need to in fact die in hell with that. Good evening. We are on CNN News and yet we're not. Right? Yes, die in hell completely with that. So the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services removed the child from their custody a month after he was born. That's why I'm saying there's something wrong with this agency, because the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services are the very ones that are going to make the decision on this newborn, soon to be born baby, right? A 7 months by their pregnant mother. But not only that, they were the very same ones that removed the child from the parent's custody a month after the child was born, placed the child in foster care, and then returned the child to his mother in June 2015. They in fact have very poor decisions. Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, my apologies, right? They don't make the right decisions. I just said that, didn't I say that moments before or hours before, right? Even in discussion outside of this video. That agency makes so many poor decisions. They're not bright-minded at all. Because to remove a baby and then give the baby back, be caught or go out to a house, document information, not remove a child, and then say you're going to make decisions. I know I'm going around 50 million times in the same circle. I in fact should. Because that's the pinpoint many of these agencies, and I said that before, which do stuff wrong that leads to death of these children. People need to pay attention to what I'm saying. So issues involving the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, DCF, was asked to investigate the family again in March 2018. This is all going around in a circle. They came to the conclusion in March 2018 that was just last year, that there was no neglect that stood apparent in the home. For every time something don't stand apparent, is to say it more than likely could be there. Who don't know that sort of thing? Who doesn't know that sort of thing? Even so, I think sometimes agencies, I don't know. Because see, I'm saying where they stand at fault. Because even oftentimes when the agencies come into a home and say if the child is there, if they're not, I'm thinking the best bet is to have the children there, right? Because to be able to read facial expressions is to say even a child's look and all the rest, as in how they look at you, can tell all. A child like that could have been screaming on the inside to be taken away and placed elsewhere just by looking in the face. I don't think that child, more than likely, if the child was there within the home, sure, the child was. Because that's the point of the agency coming to the home, right? I don't think that child would have been standing there smiling or smirking or anything with the agency there. I want you, dear viewers, to think about what I just said. Does that make sense? Pick apart that with your left and right brain, however you choose with that, right? How do you think the child was sitting there looking as the agency was standing there? Do you think that only a bright mind will be able to see what I'm saying? Do you think that child will be looking at the caseworkers in their face and their eyes with a look of save me, take me, save me, get me away from here? Caseworkers, I understand that they're trained in behavioral science and all the rest, understanding actions, bodily movement, possible facial expressions and all the rest, right? But they need to be trained more clear with that. Reading into a child's eyes. What is there? Because see, even if vacancy, if a child is malnourished, is to say that a look of a vacant soul can stand there. Because remember, a child is not getting all the nourishments, vitamins, and all the rest, is to say there's going to be an emptiness or a hollow look within the child's eyes, and possibly in their facial expressions, because to not be fed enough is to say there's low energy, as in the child is going to be less playful, and yet the child might in fact stand less playful knowing that company is over, because many parents in fact instruct their kids before company visit the home, don't be bouncing around, don't this, don't that, right? And yet and still malnourishment oftentimes can be seen, and I'm thinking the agencies would know that sort of thing, as in they would be trained in that. Well, when you go into the house, you caseworkers, when y'all go into the house, this is going to be the look of starvation. This is going to be the look of this. And not only that, look deep, as in peer deeply in the child's eyes to see what you can see. It's just, the whole thing just seems off or something. I don't know. Everybody needs to be put out of a job with that. So, we're in fact on investigationdiscovery.com. The ID logo stands on the far left corner. Shouts out to Paula as well as Lieutenant Joe Kenda. Unlock episodes. To receive an audio visual preview is in fact click the play button right here. You will receive that audio and visual, right? Add to watch later is to click the plus sign right here. Betrayed. That sounds like a show that fits this family. Betrayed, a young 5-year-old betrayed, as well as everyone else, betrayed by their parents. Betrayed, season 3, episode 8. To not be taken care of as a child. That's the point of giving birth to a child, is to take care of them. And yet to not do that is for the child to in fact sit betrayed and then end up dead in betrayal. That's all I'm trying to say. On last night, you can in fact to gain access to this right here is exclusive, is to click provide your provider, as in who you're subscribed to, and you would in fact gain access to that. Murder in the Heartland, it's locked down, you guys. You can add to watch later as well with these. Any one of these that have a key on it. Unlock series, that's an audio visual preview as well. You can come on here yourself. I mentioned that. investigationdiscovery.com, full of all the latest, greatest in mayhem. ID Go original series, the same thing. Previewing. I'm hoping I'm not making anyone dizzy as I'm going through. Shouts out to John Walsh. Have a tip, help in the pursuit. If you have any information on a case featured on the show, please call 1-833-3-PURSUIT or fill out our online form now and click yes for submission. The Crime Feed News, crimefeed.com. To gain access to the crime feed is a click right within here. You would in fact be directed to the outside, crimefeed.com. To receive a newsletter is to type your email address in. Type that in and click next. I think that's all to be said for now. There's nothing more to be said. Because I have tears and crying on the inside, as in how many of these children in fact are killed at their own parents' hands is what I'm trying to say. That's aggravated in itself, knowing you can't do anything to prevent it. So I think that's all for now. Let me know what's going on with you. Let me know how your day is and all the rest. And I'm gone for now.